The sun beats down on the outskirts of Guadalajara. Dust rises from the dry roads, children chase each other barefoot, and in the middle of it all is a boy who doesn't quite fit in. His skin is pale, his freckles scattered, his hair a bright shock of red. In Mexico, he stands out like a flame against the desert earth. The locals give him a nickname, Canelo, Cinnamon. At first it's a tease, later it will become a legend. Saul Álvarez is the youngest of 8 children. His family scrape by, selling ice cream in the sweltering heat, pushing their cart from street to street. Money is short, but there is no shortage of spirit in the household. The Álvarez brothers are a noisy, rough-and-tumble pack, and nearly all of them find their way into the boxing gym. For Saul, fighting is in the air he breathes, but he is small, wiry, and still just a boy. At 13, he watches one of his brothers climb into the ring, gloves laced tight, the crowd gathered close. Something stirs in him. He wants to know what it feels like, to take a punch, to give one back, to stand alone under the lights. Soon, Saul laces the gloves himself. The leather is too big for his hands. The smell of sweat and canvas is overwhelming. But from the very first moment, there's a flash of instinct, a natural rhythm. This scrawny red-headed kid from Guadalajara has found his calling. 13 years old, barely a teenager, still in school, but already stepping through the ropes. The crowd is small, the air thick with sweat and dust, and on the other side of the ring stands someone older, stronger, heavier. Saul Álvarez should look out of place, a skinny boy with freckles and a shock of red hair. But when the bell rings, something changes. He ducks, he slips, he counters. The punches come sharp, clean, natural. This is no ordinary kid. 2 years later, he makes a decision that most grown men would fear. He turns professional, 15 years old, still too young to drive, but old enough to sign fight contracts. He is sent into rings where his opponents are not boys, but men, broad-shouldered, scarred, with years of experience. Picture it, a smoke-filled arena in a small Mexican town. The crowd restless, beer in hand, eyes on the red-headed teenager with the oversized gloves. His fists are taped, his nerves hidden beneath a mask of quiet determination. He looks up at men twice his size and doesn't blink. And then, the knockouts come. Fast, brutal, decisive. Time and again, the teenager floors men who thought they could bully him. Word spreads. Promoters lean in. Journalists take notes. Old fight fans whisper to one another, "This kid is special." By his late teens, the red-headed boy from Guadalajara is no longer a curiosity. He's a sensation. Across Mexico, Saul Canelo Álvarez tears through opponents, city by city, ring by ring. Each fight draws a bigger crowd. Each knockout adds to the growing buzz. But away from the bright lights, he stays the same. Stoic, quiet. A hard worker who spends his mornings in the gym and his evenings with his family. For all the hype building around his name, Canelo still helps out at home, still eats simple meals, still keeps his circle small. At heart, he is a family-first fighter, not yet seduced by the trappings of fame. Promoters, though, see something more. The pale-skinned, red-haired Mexican with movie-star looks and devastating power. He's a marketer's dream. And soon the spotlight begins to shift north. The United States. Las Vegas, the big money stage. It is the beginning of a double life. At home in Guadalajara, he remains the humble son, the youngest of 8, still more comfortable around horses and farmland than cameras. But abroad, in arenas packed with thousands, he becomes something else entirely. A rising celebrity, a fighter tipped to be the future of Mexican boxing. The hype machine is rolling, and it isn't slowing down. The hype could only carry him so far. To prove himself, Canelo had to face the names that mattered. The legends, the champions. In 2012, he beat Shane Mosley, a veteran many considered past his prime, but still a dangerous test. It was the first big stamp of legitimacy. Then came the defining moment of his youth, Floyd Mayweather. The fight every fan wanted, the spotlight of Las Vegas burning bright. Canelo was just 23, unbeaten, and carrying the weight of Mexico on his shoulders. But under those lights, he learned the hardest lesson of all. Mayweather was too slick, too smart, too experienced. Canelo barely laid a glove on him. For the first time, the golden boy looked ordinary. Defeat stung, but it didn't break him. It taught him patience, craft, timing. In that loss, Canelo found the tools he would need to become great. The lesson was absorbed. Over the next decade, Canelo evolved. Sharper defense, brutal body punches, ice-cold composure. He took on all-comers, climbing weight divisions, collecting belts. But it was the battles with Gennady Golovkin that defined this era. Golovkin was a monster, an unbeaten knockout artist from Kazakhstan. When the two finally met, the world stopped to watch. Their fights were wars, savage exchanges, controversy over the scorecards, fans divided down the middle. Some said GGG won, others swore Canelo had edged it. But across 3 unforgettable battles, one truth emerged. Canelo was no longer just a prospect. He was the face of modern boxing. Titles came, divisions fell. From light middleweight to super middleweight, he conquered them all. In 2021, he became the first undisputed champion at super middleweight in boxing history. For Mexico, for his family, for himself. It was glory carved in leather and blood, but Canelo Álvarez was never just a fighter. He became a brand, an empire. Horses on his ranch, luxury cars in his garage, his own tequila line stamped with his name. Business was booming. He broke with Golden Boy Promotions, choosing to manage his own destiny, handpicking fights, signing record-breaking deals that made him one of the highest-paid athletes on the planet. He was no longer just a boxer under contract. He was the boss. Yet through it all, he kept a tie to Guadalajara. However far the private jets flew him, he returned to the land where it all began, to the family who had pushed ice cream carts through the heat, to the roots that made him. For all the money, the fame, the spotlight, Canelo remained grounded in the soil of Mexico. Now the questions turn to legacy. Injuries creep in, new challenges rise, and every fight feels like a test of time as much as skill. Is his body slowing? Has his prime already passed? But whatever comes next, his place is already secure. Canelo Álvarez stands alongside Julio Cesar Chavez in the pantheon of Mexican boxing. He is more than a champion. He is a symbol of grit, of pride, of transformation. From the skinny, red-headed boy teased in Guadalajara to the face of global boxing, his story is still unfolding. Each time he laces the gloves, he adds another line to his legend. And one day, when the gloves are finally hung up, his name will echo with the greats. Saúl Canelo Álvarez, Cinnamon, the boy who became a fighter, the fighter who became a king. And now, as the story continues, a new chapter waits to be written. Canelo Álvarez, the boy from Guadalajara who became a global icon, is set to face Terence Crawford. The arena will light up once more, the punches will fly, and the world will watch to see if another legend is forged or another lesson is learned. In the ever-turning wheel of boxing history, even kings must keep proving themselves.